Hello, all you beautiful people. Welcome back to the AFN Fly the Flag podcast. We're a mortgage show. We talk to mortgage people about mortgage things. And today I'm here with my co-host, Johnny Fowler. No special guests today. You got to put up with us, but I think we got some good stuff for you. How you doing, Johnny?
If I had feelings, that would have hurt. No special guests.
You're a co-host. You're much more than a guest.
Okay, well, maybe I feel a little bit better about that then. I'm doing great. It's starting to get cooler in Houston. I know it's not for you guys out in California.
No, man, we're suffering some heat and humidity right now.
Yeah, sorry about that.
It happens.
And we've got to live through like 3.5 months of that, so you can handle 4 or 5 days.
Hey man, it's typical September stuff for us over here. Not super typical. It's kind of cool. We're getting our first Pacific hurricane in 38 years. So there's some things going on out there in the ocean right now.
Yeah, no joke. I tell you the truth, I never even realized that you guys got hurricanes. I always thought the water was too cool for that. We get them, like they come like at least once a week, every other Sunday or something like that. But it's normal for us, but for you guys, it's different. I will tell you, I am getting excited. I'm getting ready to get on an airplane, go do some modern marketing classes for some branches in Georgia. So I'm looking forward to that. Yeah,
a little bit of Southern hospitality for you down there.
Very much so. One of the branch managers there, I've done this class for him a few times, and we always have such an amazing turnout. One of the ones that we did, I kid you not, we had right at 60 real estate agents show up, 57, 58, something like that. Mm-hmm. And the very next month, I think he ended up taking like 32 or 37 applications and closed 9 deals off, just stuff like that. So I get really worked up and excited about that.
Before we dive into our main topic for today, I just noticed how we look. We got the little widescreen format thing going. It's a bit of we're changing it up a little, but I want to know what our viewers think. Do you like this look better, or do you prefer this look, where we fill the screen a little bit more and things like that? I'm going to leave it here because I think filling the screen is a little bit more interesting, especially if you're watching on a phone or something like that. But if you like the first look better, let us know in the comments below, whether you're watching this on YouTube or you're listening on Apple, Google Podcasts, Spotify, whatever it is. For Spotify, I think I can actually add a poll question, so maybe I'll try that. But whatever platform you're viewing or listening on, let us know in the comments. If you can see us, is this better than we started? Do you want more face or less face? I guess is the crux of the whole thing, right?
I think it kind of depends. If they're using like some of those old CRT 14-inch monitors, it doesn't really matter. If they've got nice HD monitors like I do, it's like, oh man, geez.
I know, maybe a little too much detail.
That one dude's old.
Oh, it's funny. All right, man. So you have your sessions, your breakout sessions for the conference. I'm gonna venture a guess that they align with the classes that you've been teaching.
That's what we're going to do. That's what we're going to put together. I'm going to try and throw in, and this is part of my ideas on the presentation, and it's a little bit different for me. My classes that I put on are 4.5 hours.
Yeah.
The ones that I do for AFN corporate that we do for all the branches and loan officers on Thursdays are 1 hour. They're roughly about 30 to 40 minutes of content and about 20 minutes of conversation and questions.
Okay, great. And those classes, just so everybody out there knows, coincide with our topic for today: modern marketing for mortgage loan officers. Not everybody is a Team AFN member, and we know that this is a public podcast. We want to bring a little bit of value to everybody in the mortgage industry out there. So maybe we can do a little redux here today. No screen share, no PowerPoints, no presentations or anything like that. But maybe we can get some tips for all of our mortgage industry friends who are watching or listening.
Of course.
5, 10, maybe a 15-minute kind of high-level overview at what people can do to enhance their marketing to be more effective today.
There is a ton of things. The first thing, and I'm kind of, you and I have got to know each other over the past few weeks anyway, so I'm kind of rough anyway. There's a ton of things that people can do, and it kind of goes back to that Warren Buffett guy from Omaha.
Okay.
When people are running towards it, run away from it, and vice versa. So the first thing I think you've got to realize is, in my opinion, 95% of your competition is one of three things: either scared, lazy, or they don't care.
Okay.
So if you realize that in the very beginning, that the greater amount of your competition is sitting on the sidelines and they're probably waiting for you to screw up or whatever it may be, all you're really fighting against is 5% of the people out there that are your competition.
So
Now,
I guess what you're saying in a little different way is, regardless of how comfortable or uncomfortable you are with any of the new mortgage techniques you might hear about or try, don't worry about it so much because the bar is set quite low.
the bar is extremely low.
Okay.
All you have to do is show up. All you have to do is be active, consistent, and plan. Another one, either plan to fail or fail to plan. So I try and teach people to plan out a system, plan out something. And I'll tell you what, I'll send you a graphic that I use. We'll get it to you. If you want to throw it in here as a screenshot, that'd be great.
Sure.
I don't care, because I really want everybody to win. That's my goal, is either win or get out of the way. So some tips that I would recommend to people: activity is number one.
Okay.
You can't stay in bed till 10 o'clock in the morning, go to lunch at noon, go to the golf course at 2:30 and expect to do business. You can't, it doesn't work. Unfortunately, I was born pretty instead of wealthy. So you've got to work to do something. There's no ifs, ands, or buts. So as long as you get that one through your thick skull right off the top, is activity breeds activity. There's no question about it. Now, marketing. Marketing is something that's fun. So one thing that people have an issue with marketing is they let too many outside influences get to them.
Okay.
What I mean by that, so they'll figure out that somebody on a social media platform is selling a widget, and I've got to buy that widget. That widget is going to change my life. I know it will. And then we either play with it for a while or we think about it forever, and we just absolutely wear ourselves out with it, or we have paid attention to too many widgets, too many things going on, and can't figure out what it is we want. So what I recommend as far as any kind of marketing for the mortgage business is figure out what is going to get you where you want, and let's draw it out. I like whiteboards. If you saw our office, we have whiteboards everywhere. And it's just planning. It's what to do. And one of the things, the graphic that I'm going to send you, I recommend blowing it up, laminating it. That way you can write on it and make your plan. Now, let's figure out some easy ways. I will give you just a couple that I've picked up over the years that don't even involve, because so many people are scared of social media. They're scared of video. They're scared of getting on camera. They're scared of what other people will think about them or say about them or whatever.
Yep.
And until they get over that fear and they realize that, the thing about it is the people that they are scared about, they can't eat you, and they really don't matter anyway. One thing that I will tell you for a fact, I've never found anybody that's successful that will point out flaws. I've never found anybody that's successful. You're not going to get a phone call from Tony Robbins saying, Mike, you know what? That beard, it's got to go.
Yep.
Because he's too busy taking care of him. You're never going to get a phone call from Damon Johns saying, you know what, dude, you need to cut the hair. Whatever it is. You may get tips. You may get pointers. And I've got those before.
That's one of the best. It's one of the best pieces of advice that I ever got, and I got it a couple of years ago when I started leaning further and further into YouTube. And I mean, you get the keyboard jockeys who just want to
Oh
make
yeah.
themselves feel better, and they write some horrendous stuff down in them comments, man. They really do. And I was kind of sitting back in disbelief at one time about a certain comment, and somebody said, "Dude, don't worry about it. See how good their YouTube channel looks." And that was interesting because the advice was basically nobody who's doing better than you has time to criticize you.
No.
At all. And I mean, even if your YouTube channel is sitting there with like 10 family members and 2 friends as subscribers, if you're getting criticism, it's probably somebody who doesn't make video at all. So who the heck are they to criticize? Or it's somebody who's sitting there with 4 subscribers and hasn't made a video in 3 years.
They're sitting in mom's basement.
Yeah.
So they're sitting in mom's basement waiting to go to their part-time job. You know, one of those kind of things. So, but I will tell you, just from my perspective, in the beginning, when I really started getting big in YouTube and I started putting out videos, getting 30 and 40,000 views on my videos and stuff, I will tell you that even though, you know, I'm a big dude. I'm 5'10", I'm 250, ex-MMA fighter. My dad was worried for a long time because he said I'd rather fight than do anything else kind of deal. So I'm not worried about that, but I will tell you, whenever that kid that lives in mom's basement would put that comment about, why should I listen to some fat old bald guy or something like that, it got to me. And I will tell you what I did. It was easy for me because I had a whole team of people that worked for me. So I just assigned all of that stuff to somebody else that was not only on my team, but had my back, but also was a disinterested third party kind of thing. So they could go in, block, delete, you know, make sure that person was gone, because those, you know, sometimes those comments got to me. Yeah. And, you know, there's no room in the world for keyboard warriors. So it is a little bit easier for me to say that than it may be for others, but
it's hard. One of the best things I ever heard from Gary Vee, if anybody's familiar with him.
Oh God, yes.
Is, when it comes to the commenters and the criticizers and the people that just are nasty, is how bad of a place do they have to be in their life to take the time out of their day to write something that bad about someone else?
I love Gary.
And showing empathy in that way really does help you rise above and also help bring others up. Because I've gotten comments like that before, and I've actually responded. Hey man, sorry, seems like you might be going through something. I hope it gets better. Let me know if you actually want to chat, like really chat. Let's get on the phone.
I will still help anybody.
Yeah,
you know? And I think it may be a flaw. All right, so if you are afraid to get on social media, here's a couple things that I'm going to recommend that will get you business immediately. Immediately.
Okay. Great.
All right. So here's one of the easiest things that I've done, and I've preached about it for years. And for some reason, people are still scared of this. I actually have a friend of mine that owns a fairly good-sized mortgage company out of New England that's actually doing this and implementing this. I need to reach out to him, but he's doing it for his whole company. So a couple things. The very first, easiest one in the world to do, no matter what, is the Mylar balloons. And when this show opened up, you saw my Mylar balloons and how long they last. Today is roughly a month later from when those Mylar balloons were put up. Go to the dollar store, whatever they call it in your area, whether it's a 5 and dime or a Dollar General or whatever it is, go to the dollar store, find those big Mylar balloons that say congratulations on them. Buy those Mylar balloons that say congratulations on them. Buy that little ribbon that you use to tie them with. And then if it was me, I would go to like Party City or someplace like that and buy a helium tank. It's cheaper and easier to buy it and keep it, and you can actually get the good ones refilled. And what you're going to figure out is it's going to cost you about $3 or $4 per. And here's what I do with it. So when I get a contract from a buyer's agent that I'm moving forward, what I'm going to do is once that contract comes in and I have this person through underwriting, What I'm going to do is I'm going to take those Mylar balloons. I'm going to blow up 4 of them. On those 4 Mylar balloons, I'm going to tie that ribbon. And on that ribbon, I'm going to put 10 of my business cards, either stapled to or paper clipped to.
Mm-hmm.
Do you know where I'm going with this?
Yep.
I see the smile on your face.
Yep.
And I'm going to put those inside of one of those gift bags. And I'm going to either personally deliver. So if I'm not doing enough business to pay somebody to deliver for me, I'm personally going to deliver it. And I'm going to take one of those balloons to the listing agent's office. I'm going to take one of those balloons to the buyer's agent's office.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to take one of those balloons to the borrower's office or place of business. And I'm going to take one of those balloons to the co-borrower's place of business. So here's what I did. I just blew up 4 balloons, put them in 4 bags, took them to 4 different places. Good God, half my day's wasted. I had to staple 10 business cards to that string. And I'm going to deliver them, and I'm going to drop them off at the front desk, and I'm going to turn around and leave, and it has the appropriate person's name on it. So here's what happens. The listing agent may never come into the office, So what's going to happen is the person sitting at the front desk or the broker is going to say, hey, you've had this package here for a couple of days, and they're going to, okay, I'll come up there after lunch, whatever. They're going to open up that bag. That Mylar balloon is going to fly out of the bag. It's going to have 10 of your business cards on it. I'm probably going to put a little note on it and say, thank you so much for listing the property at 1234 Main Street. I represent the Smiths that are buying that property. So then what happens is in that office, everybody who walks in, out, has anything to do with anything now sees my congratulations. They're saying, what congratulations about what? Oh, one of my listings just got sold, blah, 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 blah. And then there's 10 of my business cards on there. The buyer's agent, same exact thing's going to happen. Mm-hmm. Maybe the buyer's agent actually goes to the office, but you're still going to see that Mylar balloon flies up, 10 business cards at the borrower's place of business. And I don't care if it's a factory. I don't care if it's a shop. I don't care what it is. Mm-hmm. Same thing. And if you're sitting, can you imagine sitting in a cube farm, opening up that gift basket, that gift bag, the balloon flying up, and everybody in your cube farm says, congratulations on what? Oh, we just put a contract on a house and my underwriting just got approved or whatever it is. Mm-hmm. And I'm going to do that when I get an approval, and I'm going to do it again when either the loan closes or the day after closing, something along those lines, mm-hmm. because I probably have less than $3 or $4 in each one of those. And let's go big. Let's say it's $5. Let's say the balloon was more than $1 in the string and all of those things. So what I just did is I spent $40 to get in front of all of those people with something that's never happened. There's not a listing agent that's ever happened to, a buyer's agent that's ever happened to, a borrower that's ever happened to. And it's going to cost me a total of $40 to get that. So that's one of the simplest and easiest things that somebody can do for marketing that truly is effective and that should get you business.
Okay. I got a question for you.
Yep.
How's that fit into modern marketing?
Got it.
So let's stick with the topic of the show, topic of the classes that you teach. Feel like we might be misleading people a little bit, saying, let's talk about modern marketing. Buy some balloons and bags.
Yep. Great question. And I appreciate you asking that. So put yourself in a room where you've got 60 real estate agents.
Yep.
You're teaching 60 real estate agents. Now, you've done something like this personally before. I know that for a fact, or you've been involved with that. Out of those 60 real estate agents, when you start telling them about creating reels, when you start telling them about going live, what are at least 50% of them going to do?
They're either going to walk out or just tune out.
So you've got to give them something to get to that point. What I don't want is anybody leaving with an excuse. I hate excuses, FYE. I hate excuses. So if I can give somebody something that will work for them right now, and that will work for a real estate agent also. A real estate agent can deliver those balloons to the borrower and the co-borrower, or their buyer, and same exact thing. So let's give them a path. Now, modern marketing. 240 million people are spending between 6 and 8 hours a day on any and all of the Meta products.
Yep.
Out of the 330 million Americans in this country, 240 million of them are on Meta for 6 to 8 hours a day. So my question is, where is your customer? Your customer is on Meta.
They're on Facebook and they're on Facebook and Instagram.
So here's what we do. This is something that I have my guys.
For those who don't follow this type of stuff, Meta is the new name for the parent company of Facebook and Instagram, and other things as well. But but your client is on Facebook and Instagram. Nobody's really doing the metaverse stuff yet. We're not looking at widespread adoption there. We're probably too early on that at this moment for a loan officer to start creating any sort of metaverse marketing, however they can figure it out. But from a Facebook and Instagram perspective, that's kind of what we're talking about when we refer to Meta.
Great point. I do want people to start using the terminology Meta, because we will be, in my opinion, in the next 3 years, we will be in the metaverse.
Guess who has a call with Meta in 2.5 hours?
Meta, the metaverse will be a normal thing of business. And if I can't get you into the simple systems like TikTok and Instagram and Facebook now, by the time we hit Web 3.0, you're going to be so far out of date, it's going to be extremely difficult.
Yep.
So anyway, so I want to get you into any and all of the Meta systems, the Facebook, the WhatsApp, the Instagram, and so forth. Now,
I'm just going to lead this by saying that I will scrap this episode if you try to teach us how to create virtual balloons.
All right, hold on. I got to write that down. How to create virtual balloons.
Don't do it.
It's very easy. You type congrats.
Let's go from a perspective of a new loan officer. Somebody just got into the business. Their timing was just wonderful, wasn't it? But a new loan officer in the business, they don't have the luxury of having listings or borrowers under contract. They're hunting and pecking and scraping to put something in their pipeline so that way they can start building on that pipeline. But the pipeline is just non-existent right now, and they don't have realtors' offices to go pass out business cards to or anything like that. Or maybe they're just a little bit younger. They're kind of in tune with social media and the inner workings of it a little bit more than someone who's built different habits over the course of their career. And they want to utilize that to reach more people more quickly from their computer.
So the very first thing they need to do is pay attention to groups, especially community groups. Wherever you live, I would immediately go on to Facebook itself, go to the search bar, and I would type in the name of either my city or my suburb or my subdivision or whatever it may be.
Housing complex, if it's something like that.
Depending on the size of what it is. So in where I live in Houston, Texas, those are some very large, overwhelming groups. So I physically live in Cypress, Texas. So in Cypress, Texas, there is Cypress, Texas Beg, Borrow, and Steal. There is Cypress, Texas Women's Group. There is Cypress, Texas Athletes. So there are over 20 million groups on Facebook. What I'm going to do is I'm going to join the groups, and before I join them, I'm going to look and see the activity. How many members do they have? How many posts a day? And I'm going to stay away from the groups that have 40 or 50 members. I'm going to stay away from the groups that have 3 posts in the past 7 weeks, things like that. And I'm going to join the bigger, more
active groups.
Active groups. Yeah. And I'm going to also join groups that I have some sort of affinity with. So it would make no sense for me to join the Cypress Toyota Prius group.
Sure.
Not a Prius guy. But it would make sense for me to join anything that has to do with the things that I'm interested in my area. Now, here's what's going to happen. In those groups, I'm going to start putting out good content. And what good content is not dumping in graphics and flyers. Good content is not, I'm a loan officer, I'm a loan officer, I'm a loan officer, I'm a realtor, I'm a realtor, I'm a realtor. It's bringing value to that group so you are seen as somebody who has credibility, you are seen as somebody with expertise. Now, there's a couple tricks that I give to real estate agents all the time, all over the country. One of the things that you'll see back before we even, were using social media for this, you would see the real estate agents and they would bombard all of the FSBOs across the nation, and they would try to explain to them why I'm the greatest real estate listing agent there's ever been and blah, blah, blah. And there's a little technique that I show them, and I do the same thing for loan officers. If you will use this, it will work. And it'll work about 7 times out of 10. Find somebody who's inside of one of those groups or inside of Facebook Marketplace that's trying to sell their property on their own, and go in and study what it is. And then if I was you, what I would do is use my expertise and find out what it is that they can do to improve what it is that they're trying to advertise and market. So go through and look at the pictures on the property. Go through and look at the description, see if they misspelled a word. Go through and do a CMA, or go look on any one of the AVMs that's out there for free and see if they're asking the right price for their property. One of the things that we know for a fact is when people are doing a for sale by owner, most of the time they undervalue the property. If you undervalue the property, the very first thing it does is people look and say it's for sale by owner and you're asking less for this property than any other property in your area. What's wrong with it?
Yeah.
Something's wrong. So maybe it's something as simple as providing a CMA and letting them know that they're $22,000 short on what they should be asking for this property. Maybe it's something as simple as giving them advice on the pictures. Hey, I looked at the pictures. They look great. You should probably take the cat box out of the kitchen picture, reshoot that one. You should probably take that junk car out of the driveway, get it, to somewhere else, and then just walk away. All you're doing is giving advice, and you're helping them, and you're walking away and going somewhere else. And about 7 times out of 10, those people are going to reply back to you and either say thank you, or why are you doing this, or who are you, or something along those lines. The other 3, maybe go back to them in another week or 2, whatever. But those 7, somebody's going to say something to you. Start a conversation. Do not make a conversation why you are the best loan officer in the world. Do not make a conversation why you're the best real estate agent. You're trying to help somebody. It's one of those Zig Ziglar sayings. It's funny. The more people I help get what they want, the more I obtain what I want.
Yeah, and there's a huge point there, and I don't want to breeze over it. Regardless of who you are or what you are to whomever, if you're a loan officer, if you're an escrow agent, if you're a sales manager, if you're a realtor, if it doesn't matter, if you're a cashier at Best Buy, whatever. If you want the business and you want people to be satisfied, you don't have to be the best. You just need to be the one that gives them the most value
and shows up.
Because odds are the best is already busy, and they're not going to be able to show up like you can show up, and they're not going to be willing to put a little extra time into giving the most value like you would be willing to do. Let's face it, we're like a half an hour into this podcast. If you're still listening, you're willing to put in the time to give the most value.
So here's a couple other things that I would do. Not only joining those groups, joining those local groups, then I would start joining groups that are going to help me iron sharpen iron. Some of my favorite groups for everybody in our industry are really amazing, great groups. So there is a group called Lab Coat Agents.
Okay. And
in that group is somewhere around 160,000, mostly realtors inside of that group. And one of the things that the realtors that I steer to those groups find is they end up getting more referrals and more leads from people inside of that group. Can you imagine right now if you were a real estate agent, a listing agent in any of the states where people are leaving, and you could make a connection in any of the states where people are going to. See, one of the cool things about real estate is they can make money on a referral where you and I can't.
Yep.
So what you see all the time inside of Lab Coat Agents or Real Estate Mastermind, and I think Real Estate Mastermind has about 190,000 in that group.
Okay.
what you'll see all the time is people asking, does anybody know a good real estate agent in Dallas? Does anybody know a good real estate agent in Boca Raton? Anybody know a good referral in, Poughkeepsie, New York, whatever it may be? So you can get a tremendous amount of leads, but you're also able to put in value and make it to where you're seen, make it to where you're shown. But the education, I'm telling you right now, the education inside of those two groups far surpasses anything that you're going to either pay for, go to a conference and get, because it's done by people who are actually doing the job. So we started out talking about little simple things that have nothing to do with modern marketing, that are antiquated systems, but they work. They're effective.
Yep.
Once we get that confidence and once we build up that confidence, and all it takes is a couple of sales and we start building our confidence. Then all of a sudden we start getting a lot smarter. We become wiser. And then we're now a little bit ready to make those steps into something that is more modern. And even though for you and I that have been on social media for well over a decade, going on 2, it now is easier for that person to step in and start using some of these modern techniques and modern systems. We go even deeper and we go finer. We have a branch manager in Las Vegas, Nevada that I gave this one to. He joined a couple of the groups that had to deal with the Las Vegas Raiders.
Okay.
And he joined a couple of groups. He's a big baseball guy. He's a baseball guy. He joined a couple of these groups. And we just gave him little tips, little posts that he should put up inside of these groups that aren't pushing the limits, but it's just basically introducing yourself, telling them what you do, and then gaining information back from people in that group. He did one in one of the Raiders groups, and I do things a little bit different. What I want people to do is, instead of that same old, just horrible, you see that post where it's, let's welcome our new members, and it's Bob. Yeah. And they go, oh, thank you for letting me join this group. What I do is I tell them, do this instead. I want you to record a video, and I want you to keep it in your phone. And I want you to say something like, hey, I'm Johnny Fowler. I'm from right here in Houston, Texas. I actually live in Cyprus. I appreciate you guys letting me in this group. By the way, I'm a 28-year mortgage veteran. So if anybody ever has any questions about real estate, about mortgages, anything like that, reach out and help me. But I appreciate you guys letting me in the group. And then you post that video instead of that saying, thanks for letting me join the group. Yep. Now, all of a sudden, people know you. They hear your voice. They see your mannerisms. They can know immediately if they can relate to you or not. And you will get more interaction off of that than anything else. Then it's using the systems for your benefit. One of the easiest things to do to start getting leads immediately, join these groups, get in these groups and put up a post and say something like, tell me what year you bought your first house. Tell me what year you bought your last house, whatever that may be. What was your interest rate? And, whatever that was. So you will find it's so funny because people will, I don't want anybody to see the picture of my house. People will go in there in a heartbeat and say, I bought my first house in 1994. My interest rate was 8.5%. I got an FHA loan. My house was 72.9, blah, blah, blah. And they will give you all that information.
That's just memories.
Exactly.
They're reliving the experience. Of course, they're going to want to give that to you. Another cool one would be, hey, look how far we've come, guys. 2022. Everything's crazy. For you homeowners out there, what was your interest rate on your first mortgage, and what's your interest rate on your mortgage right now? What's the difference? And then all you're doing is creating a list of people that you might be able to refinance.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. Or remember, we only live in our house for 6 or 7 years.
Sure.
They're going to go into another house. You also have the ability to give them comparative market analysis. You've got this group of people, and if you don't, call me. I will find people in your area that will help you, that will be on your team to help you do these things.
Especially with the local groups. The local groups are so good because you can pull the granular data and post it there, and it's really valuable information.
Incredible.
Oh my goodness, everybody. Did you know the average home equity that a homeowner is sitting on in Houston right now is $74,000 or whatever? Like, who doesn't want to tap into that to add the pool or whatever it is that you always wanted to add? Let me know. Let me know. Let me know if you want to do that. It's crazy amounts of money everybody's sitting on. I mean, don't get me wrong. I know that cash out refinances in Texas are a whole other thing. That can be a whole podcast on its own.
They've improved them now. We have improved them.
Are they better?
It's still the ADLTV no matter what, but it's not always a cash out anymore.
Okay.
Previous to, God, I guess it's been 2018, once a cash out, always a cash out.
Yeah.
After 1 year, you can now go from a cash out into a rate and term refi.
Okay.
And you get that off of your title to where it's not a cash out anymore.
So it's a little more normal.
It's getting there. But I will tell you this. One thing I will tell you is, even though it may be a pain for people outside of the state with those laws, I will tell you it has saved our values. And where your state was destroyed back in 2000, 2007, 2008, because everybody had to go buy new jet skis and sailboats and side-by-sides.
Got to keep up with the Joneses, baby. Tap into that house to buy all new toys.
Our values stayed flat.
Yeah, that's true.
Instead of taking a massive dip, a friend of mine that's up in Northern California from you that has a show that he does also. He doesn't blame the mortgage meltdown on Wall Street. He blames it on Yamaha, Kawasaki.
That's pretty funny. I like that.
But anyway, so there are a number of things. And in these classes, we go in depth. I spend 4.5 hours. And I will tell you, in probably, I'm going to say, honestly, 80 to 90% of them, I have people that are actually getting business while they're in class just by testing and trying some of the things that we do. One of the big things is timing. People, what you'll find in sales is most people have somewhat of the same routine, no matter what time zone they're in, no matter where they're at in life. It's almost the same routine. So at your age, most of the people that are, in your age group get up at 5 or 6 o'clock in the morning. They start getting their stuff ready for the day, blah, blah, blah. They take their kids to school. They drop them off. They sit in that line, dropping their kids off at school, which is a great post, which is a great video to talk about because it's relative. Everybody can relate to that. Even somebody who hasn't had a kid in school in over a decade can relate to sitting in those lines.
Everybody knows about the line.
But beyond that, you go a little bit deeper, and we get back to our home, we get our cup of coffee, we open up our laptop, and we start putting up our first post at about 9 o'clock in the morning. Okay? Does that sound about right for you and the people you know and things like that?
That's pretty close. I don't post, I record.
8:45.
I usually hit record right around 9 o'clock, much like we did today.
where is, as a loan officer, not as a podcaster?
Yeah.
As a loan officer, as a real estate agent, where is your customer at 9 o'clock in the morning?
Doing the same thing.
They're sitting behind a desk, filing TPS reports for somebody that they can't stand, and they're not sitting.
I don't know. I like to give a little bit more credit to the ease of access that these have afforded everybody. If people are on a Meta property, if people are on Facebook or Instagram or this or that, very rarely are they completely tuned out.
I can not only prove it to you, you can prove it to yourself. I can send you graphs. Go pull up your Instagram analytics. Go pull up your Facebook analytics and watch. So the peak time in the morning is 7:30. That's the apex. That's when the greater majority of morning audience is on at 7:30. By 9 o'clock in the morning, it has dropped down to where it is a negligible, null point. It's not even a recordable percentage anymore at 9 o'clock in the morning. And then one thing that people don't realize or understand, most people don't understand why social media is free, why I don't have to pay for a page, why I don't have to pay for a post, a comment, things like that. And it's because the systems are gathering our information and our data, not only ours, but all of our audience also. And they're selling that to businesses so they can advertise to you. So if your interaction is less at 9 o'clock in the morning than it is at 7:30. your interaction is less at 11:30 than it is at 10:30. So there are specific times. And then there's algorithms that fight against you.
Sure.
That say if nobody interacts with your post, your video, if they don't comment, if they don't emote, if they don't share within 70 seconds, 1 minute, 10 seconds of you putting it out there, then that post dies. It goes to no one else. Every time somebody emotes on that post, that 70-second clock starts over. So instead of, and if you'll just try this, put up a post at 7:15 in the morning. Ride that apex, ride it all the way up to the top and then all the way down. What you'll find is if you do the things that the system wants you to do, they'll reward you for it. And instead of getting 4 views, instead of getting 6 thumbs ups and 2 of them being from your mom, you will actually be in front of an audience that is there at the time that you're putting on the show, whatever it is, whether it's a post, whether it's a video, whatever it is.
There you go. I like that. That's a really good tip. Posting schedules are huge.
Massive. And if you want, reach out. I will give you a posting schedule. I will drop it to anybody and everybody. It's like I tell people in the posting schedule that I have that shows you exactly who the audience is and what times they're there. I've got 7 figures in building this thing out from running the largest funnels in the country in real estate.
And how would they reach you? Is it just Jay Fowler at AFN
Jay Fowler at afncorp.com.
Cool.
Or they can call me, text me, 281-352-7307. I'm here to help anybody who wants to help themselves. That's what my job is. Awesome. I had people help me on my way up, and I want to help anybody who wants help for themselves. If you want to call and argue, I don't even bother.
From that earlier story, I think you hire people for that, so you can refer them elsewhere.
I do, but I still take the calls, and I'm supposed to be on 2 right now, but I'm having fun with this. I love this. I am so glad every day. I feel lucky that we're doing this, and that you had already started this, and put such an amazing base together. And I feel really lucky that you allowed me to be part of this.
Thank you, man. I really appreciate that. And I'm happy to get you on here so we can make it available to the public. That was the one thing that I never got around to, because it started as a team AFN company specific thing. And I never got around to getting content out there that was applicable to everybody. And now we're doing that, and it's great. So I'm looking forward to building a base all over again.
The cool thing about this too is we've both been doing this long enough, and we know that on the first 3, we're going to get 6 views or whatever that may be.
Yeah.
And then in a year, people will start looking and paying attention. And then in 2 years is when it starts getting a little bit viral. And they're going to have
one hell of a back catalog to go through. Let me tell you.
No. It's going to be funny because we're going to meet people. I get this all the time. There's not an airport I go to in the world that somebody doesn't either recognize me from social media or something like that. And what happens is, people say, I've been following you since the very beginning. Really? Which of the 3 viewers were you? Because my mom and my brother were 2 of them.
And I'm not married to you, so that rules that one out. Yeah. For sure. No, it only takes. What is it? You hear it from all the successful YouTubers and streamers and all that stuff. It only takes like 7 or 8 years to become an overnight success, right?
Exactly. Yeah. I get that all the time, no matter where I go. Especially when it's old, because I've got friends that I went to elementary school with that we're still friends to this day. Things like that. And I get that quite frequently, and I laugh. Dude, you're an overnight success.
Yeah.
You're right. I've been busting my ass for 28 years, every day of my life. I haven't been on vacation in 5 years, but you were right. This is.
But let them think it. That's fine.
All right.
That's fine. All right, man. Well, I got nothing else.
Let's wrap it up for the day.
That was a good one today.
Can I add one thing?
You can, yeah.
One of the things that I'm really looking forward to is we've got some really, really, really amazing people that we're going to interview, talk with, have conversations with coming up. And I don't want to release the names right now unless you want to. But
No, that's
I'm
fine.
excited
Let's
about that.
we'll say that if you're in the mortgage industry and you pay attention to content, you're going to recognize some faces and voices that come across the screen here on our podcast. We're looking forward to it. Also, I don't want to get out there and say titans of industry and try to build it up into a movie premiere or anything like that. But we, much like we suggest in your social media efforts, we will have an abundance of value to provide to you, and we're happy to do it.
Appreciate you, brother.
You got it. Thanks a lot, Johnny. Thanks everybody watching, listening, and tune into the next one. We appreciate you, and we'll see you later.
Appreciate you guys. Thank you.
Bye.